So this is video 2 where I show you into a Gentle Feast curriculum and how I plan my Trello board. So for starters, I lay out all my curriculum. So just act like this template is not there. You can actually just scroll on by. So I start with, let's say, geography. I make a list, and this is one of our geography books. This is also another geography book. And within each one, I put in the week and what lessons in here are to be done. So for week 1, there you work on it 2 days that week. And so I put in the lessons in there, and you'll see why later on, because I link other cards to this card in my weekly schedule. So you can see that we use this. I don't think I planned the entire 12 weeks in geography. I think I only planned up to 6 weeks. I do try to have all of the first term stuff done in these cards, so it's just very easy to plan and have it done, but sometimes it's just 3 to 6 weeks in advance that I have planned. So these are the weeks that we'll be using this geography book. The other template I have here, I just made this little card on Canva, and I'll do another video on how to create cards and install them on Trello. But this one is just miscellaneous. So like week 3, we're just going to make a 3D map. So this is kind of like not really in the book. So it's just extras that are that you do during geography, but it's not through a book. So I have cards that will link back to this. Then I have other books here. Some of these are not going to be used until later on in the term. So for history, I moved all the other ones down to the bottom that we were working on just because I was trying to cycle through and finish my board. And once you create everything and have it done and link everything to these boards, you don't really have to have them in any order. So we're working on Leaf the Lucky right now. So I put a picture of the book on there. And I just go to Amazon most of the time and search for the book, click the book link, like the picture of the book, and I just save it. And that makes it easy. That way I don't have to worry about lighting and taking pictures of books and all that stuff. I just save it from the internet. So then I, write down what lessons, what we're going to do for week 1 and week 2. Day 1, we're going to read a quarter of the book, blah, 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 all the way down, right? And then that's really it for that book. And that's why I had it at the bottom of the list. And then the same for all of the other books that are in the history rotation. Next is the natural history. I did the same thing. I put in the Burgess Animal book. They actually had some links to a playlist and also coloring pages, so I put those in there. I put down the chapters that we are going to be reading, which is all of them. This will last us through the entire year. Also, Birds of Air, same thing. And I also forgot to mention like these little labels here. So for geography, I picked a color that I wanted and then I labeled it. So history gets its own color, science gets its own color, read alouds, handicrafts, all those types of things, they get their own color. Let's see here. So these are some of the afternoon studies board. I was trying to figure out how I was going to do it. And then this is just kind of what I came up with, afternoon studies. So these are the things that I could put into the weeks once I get them all planned. Handicrafts, I just have a board for those. We do some origami. We do some chalk pastels, some watercoloring I have here. We mostly do a lot of drawing and watercoloring with our nature studies. We are working on, for our handicraft for term 1, we are doing the knitting loom. My daughter's making a scarf. My son is making a hat. Term 2, we'll be doing sewing fleece, like those little, learning how to sew and like make pretty stitches on the outside. I don't have any links in here because like I said, I try to just plan for the first term. And then my husband's going to do some woodworking and teach him how to use a hammer and screw stuff in, how to use a drill, and hopefully the end project will be building a birdhouse. That will be for term 3. We're way away from that. Here's our read alouds for the year. I actually decided to move the read aloud that we are working on right now, which is Alice in Wonderland, to our weekly board just because it's easier to get to. Like I have the read aloud card here in my list each day that I need to read, but I like to have the book on that board in a currently reading book list just so that I can click it and just go ahead and click off the chapter we're reading, since we do that so many times in a week. And then I just have the rest of the books in there. And I also put in the chapters here just because I like to keep a running total of where we're at in the book. So for Fridays, since Fridays are a little slower, I feel like a lot of a Gentle Feast for the Form 1 anyways is built upon a 4-day schedule almost. And so we put in character study for that Friday just to kind of give it a little bit more meat. I love the character study books from The Beautiful Feet. They just have a phenomenal selection. I know it only comes with like a few lessons for the elementary age, but there is an incredible book list in that instructor guide that I have plenty of the other books just in our library at home. And so I just added that into our A Gentle Feast curriculum board here. Here's our Spanish. This is the book we're using. And I feel like I did this one a little bit different. I put everything on this Spanish card just because it was a little bit easier. Some of the lessons, like you learn the colors, but then you have to listen to some songs that are on the YouTube. So there is that. For nature study, they do recommend exploring nature with children. I did have this starting to plan this out. However, a friend told me about Texas Nature Study, which is, I have it right here in front of me. It is made by chickieandrue.com. They have a couple other states. I want to say Florida was one of them, and they're working on Oregon. But I felt like it would be really good to kind of learn about our nature, and then we can move on maybe next year to exploring nature with children, or maybe I will mix it up. I don't really know. I've only planned for the first 3 weeks. So I'll just kind of see where we're at come August and see what we plan to do, if we want to do the Texas Nature Study or the Exploring Nature with Children, or just kind of mix it all up. Who knows? So I basically pile it all into my board and lay all the assignments out into each card. Then I make my weekly template. Okay, so if you look at the 4 or 5 day weekly template, I did 5 days because we are not doing a co-op this year with all the craziness. We're just going to stay home, and if spring is maybe a little different, we might consider. But so for now, we're doing 5 days a week. So I planned out a 5-day week schedule, and I developed cards for each of these week templates. So I know I'm doing Spanish twice a week on Monday and Wednesday. So I went to Spanish, and let me just show you. I went to the Spanish tab here, and I put copy. But I'm not going to copy the checklist, right? Because I just want the checklist to be on this one card here so I can be linked to it. And if I check, so let me back up a second. If I do copy it with a checklist, the checklist on my board that I make it for to be sent to my weekly schedule is not going to come back here and be checked off on my main curriculum board unless you pay for the upgraded version. Or I know there's a power up, but you can only keep the power up on one board, so this method is not going to work for me. And I don't want to pay for a Trello at this point, not yet. So what I do is I just copy it here without the checklist, create the card, and it's going to be right in the same so you can see what I'm doing. And then see how this one has the checklist and then this one does not. I'm going to check or click on this box and go to an attachment and click on Trello, and then here is that Spanish card. And then it shows here the attachment that you'll be linking it back to. So this is the one, see this little card thing here? That's the one that you're going to drag into your template for the week. I'm going to delete this because I already have that over here on my template. And I'm going to do that for every single card here, like geography. This one has a link to the home geography, which is what I'm doing right over here, okay? You can link multiple ones, so I could even do, actually, let me go ahead and do it. I want to do this geography one right here, just because we are going to need it at one point, right? So, geography. And let's see, it has all this home geography, planned weeks. That is not what I want. I'm probably not going to be able to find it just because I'm right here, right? I don't feel like that's the right one. This is not it. Anyways, let me see if I can select Mapping Penny's World. Mapping Penny's World. See how you can have two on there? Now I need to go back and see why I cannot add in this geography one because that's going to drive me crazy. But anyways, once you have all your attachments on there, then I should put it on this one too, but I'm not going to do that. Once you have all your copies with the little board link on there, just go through your schedule. I'm going to do Spanish Monday and Wednesday, so I'm going to need 2 cards because I want a card on Monday and I want a card on Wednesday. Geography, I'm going to do 2 days a week because I'm doing that Monday and Wednesday, so you put 2 cards. Animal book, I'm only going to do once a week, so I just need 1 card. We're working on the same book twice this week, so we're going to need 2 cards. I feel like I forgot to add in this bird. So I'm going to make a copy of it right now without the list, create the card, and then select this one. I know, see, I made my own little mistakes whenever I was trying to fly through it and forgot to attach this to my template. So now I'm just going to move this, the linked one, over here underneath my Gorgeous Animal book. So there's my history. See, I still have the summer tree on here, which is reminding me I need to add in the nature study. I like to do chalk pastels or watercolors once a week. Generally, we do both just because my kids like to draw in their little nature books. Read alouds are 3 times a week per Julie Ross's schedule from A Gentle Feast. Sometimes we do more. Sometimes we read on the weekends. So we finish books a little bit faster. It gives us opportunity to read something else. We do try to do poetry tea time once a week on Tuesdays. And our knitting loom we do once a week. We spend about 20-30 minutes working on that. So that is my template. And I'm going to copy this card and I'm going to relabel it week number 1 or 2 or 12 or whatever week you have created, right? And then it should populate all of the cards. And since I have all of the cards already worked on, all of the assignments are over here in these cards that I've spent time organizing and working on. I don't think anything I have to change on here except for maybe history, because I may not be working on that book for history. So I might just have to take that off and put on this. I have this one already linked for the next card, so I might just need to drag that onto there. So what I can do is just delete here. I don't know why they don't have delete, they just have archive. I'm going to go ahead and take this nature one out too, because I won't be doing that. So I just take these off and I move this card over there. This is the one that I created that has the Trello link into, it's already linking to that checklist card. And since I'm doing it 2 days that week, I'm going to make a copy. So I have 2 in there. See, 1, 2. And then chalk pastels, we're going to do our read aloud, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all done. This week is planned, and I'm going to move that list to my planned weeks. Where are you? Here it is. And move. Okay, that is it. That is how I do my planning. In the next video, I'm going to show you how I organize my weekly board.